They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Loan you that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are more than just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of own nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
So we, eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome to Sunday night's Rogue Ways episode. It's the end of November. Isn't that crazy? I hope you guys had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know I didn't see you Thursday like I normally would, but I did have an episode in rogue.locals.com for subscribers, or I should say supporters in there. So they got to see some stuff, and so you can go check that out if you're a supporter or if you become a supporter. Everything back catalog is like available to you in there always. So once you support, you get that. You also get discounts on all kinds of stuff. I get special coupon codes and things for people in there for supporters, and it's just fun. People in there are rad. It's a great community, just like it has been for a long time before we moved over to rogue.locals.com. So yeah, go check that out. I'm very, very, very happy with my own Thanksgiving. I hope you guys were happy with yours if you celebrated. I know it's like a trigger. It used to be one for me, where people are like, fuck Thanksgiving, I hate Thanksgiving, it's Native Massacre Day, and I totally get it. I totally get it. I was there for most of my life, really, actually. Thanksgiving and most other holidays were scorned by my immediate family and myself, and we did not really get into it. We still did it. It's just like everyone else, even the people who are criticizing it now, they're probably still getting together with somebody and doing something fun, because like everyone has those days off usually, or days around then off or whatever, and it's a good excuse to hang out with people you love and do fun stuff. So I just take it that way. It is just so happens to be called Thanksgiving. It just so happens to be involved with some negative feelings for a lot of people, but you know, it's a day to be fun and festive if you want to take it that way. So that's how I take it now. I let go of having the need to criticize it every time it came up and having to bring everybody's attention back to all these genocides that happened. It was like, eventually it's like, yeah, everybody knows. So can we just not talk about it for the 5 billionth time? There's just no need to just dwell on it. So yeah, I just like to have fun. And luckily where I'm at, I was able to travel in a car and go somewhere, which I guess some places people weren't supposed to do that. Maybe here we weren't. I don't know. I don't really pay attention. I was able to hang out with people who were not living in fear and wearing masks. I was able to hug those people. That was one of the best parts of the occasion. We had so much food and, just fun. It was fun. It's fun to be around people. It's fun to connect. And that is half of the reason that we all come here to this show, is we like to connect with each other and have a community, and that's what we're doing. So I love all of you guys, and I am grateful for your presence here. As I like to say, thanks for being here and being you. You are a special part of this. So we're going to talk about the eclipse. The eclipse is tomorrow. That is a Monday, November 30th. God. Woo! November 30th. It's almost December. It's almost my birthday. Tomorrow we're going to have a full moon. It's at 4 or 3 a.m. where I'm at, I think. So wherever you're at, it's probably, within a couple hours of then, the full moon. Either way, it's on Monday for you, especially if you're in North America. And it's a partial eclipse. So that's the one where the moon just looks kind of red. It's not going to get black and get blacked out. And we're going to look at it tonight from the sidereal view, the true sidereal view, the Vedic sort of astrology view. And so I think those two things are actually kind of different. As you remember, I'm not an astrology guru. I don't know infinite amounts about it. I just am interested in it. And so I like to think about it and what we should do with that energy that it brings. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll say what's up to the people who have said hello so far in the chat. We got Regan in the house. What's up, Regan? We have My Mouth Shall Speak the Truth. What's up? We have Energy Bear over in D Live. And we have Mateo here. Energy Bear points out the history of Thanksgiving is a bunch of fabricated bullshit. Of course, like everything, it is. I know, that story is silly. And that was the first thing that like sent me on the I hate Thanksgiving path, was that we had been taught so many lies about it as kids, as children. And I still am disgusted at how we lie to children almost completely all the time, especially about holidays for whatever reason. There's this funny meme you may have seen going around. It's more like a comic strip, and it's like, you know, the mental gymnastics it takes to question the truth about Santa Claus. And it's like a stick figure walking down the street, and they just stop and they go, for Santa Claus to be fake, there would have to be, every single parent would have to be in on it, like every single commercial, every single like movie, like all these things would have to be in on it. So obviously Santa Claus is real. And then under that is like the guy who has to be like, oh my God, my parents lied to me. Oh my God, like this or that. Oh my God, said nobody can fit down a chimney, and like all the things you do to get to the point where you're like, Santa's not real. And I love it because it was just pointing out like, yeah, we do all these lies to people so many layers deep. I mean, we can go all the way down to like, we could go deep. We have gone deep on this show many times. And all of those lies stack on top of each other. And they all add to the betrayal and the abandonment feelings and all the things that can come when someone is waking up from them. But it's true. You have to go through all of that to get to like, oh my God, this is actually fake, or this is actually was lied. They did all lie about it. And then you realize like, yeah, if every like parent in the world has agreed to lie about Santa Claus, obviously every like, you know, organization of a certain type could have agreed to just like quietly look away from, especially if there's money involved or some sort of motivation or something they get out of it. We all know this. I'm speaking to the choir. But I just liked that because it was a simple way to point out to the people who are like, oh yeah, you think like everybody in the government could be in on it? And you're like, no, but the key people could be, and they could be pretty easy to keep in line, and no one else really needs to know, do they? But that would be using logic. And logic is not the strong suit of people who are still sleeping, and we all know that as well. A few more people have showed up. We have Snake Jones. Snake Jones knows. That's what we like to say around here. We have, I just lost it. We've got Love in the Midst. Good to see you again. And we have all the people who have not said hello, which is cool. You're allowed to do whatever you like, whatever makes you comfortable. I am gonna remind you guys of some things before we get into it. And we're gonna get into it. We're just going to talk about the eclipse again from the sidereal point of view and what we should be doing with it. Like, what's the goal? What should we go into it with? And it's interesting how much it lines up with everything. What's up, Kelly Crawford from Ventura, California? Nice to see you. In the site here at rogueways.org, have been having a really fun sale. So as always, you know, the site, go to rogueways.org. There's all kinds of cool stuff. You can hop around up here. I've got links to Locals, Subscribe Star, the books that I sell, the books that I write, I should say, and sell. You know, all kinds of things up here. But if you go to the shop right now, and I think only for the rest of this day, it's possible I made it through Monday because I think, I don't know, dude. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I was just trying to like give people a little holiday shopping discount. And so I have a coupon code that... What was it? Oh, it's Bright Friday. So if anybody wants to go into the shop right now and use the coupon code Bright Friday, again, I think for the rest of tonight, like until midnight, but it's possible it still works tomorrow too. I can't remember. It gives you, I think, 15% off. Do you like how I don't even know my own coupon codes? I'm pretty sure it's 15% off literally anything. You want to get a guidance session, 15% off. You want to get a tarot reading, 15% off. You want to take a class, 15% off. Anything you want is 15% off. And the only thing that's not 15% off is the 3 days of brightness retreat coming up on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, just right smack dab at that winter solstice and that 3 days of darkness. We're doing our 3 days of brightness. We want to keep ourselves as kindled and burning strong as possible during that time. And so this is an awesome retreat. It's been coming together more and more. We've got a handful of people who have already purchased their their tickets, and they are coming. And I hope that you join us. And the reason I didn't do the discount, the Bright Friday discount for this, is because there's an even bigger discount than that. It's actually a magical solstice discount of 21%. And you can get that by becoming a member at rogue.locals.com. I should say a supporter. If you become a supporter, which is literally, you guys, it's $2 at the least. If that's how much you value the content I make in the show, then that's the lowest amount you can, do to become a supporter. You can go as high as some supporters, which are in the tens and tens, which is very generous and so nice. And it's nice to get some value back for the value I produce for people and share with people. I love that. And I thank you guys so much for that. So you can go there and become a supporter. And as soon as you become a supporter, there are posts that become unlocked for you. And one of them gives you the coupon code that gives you 21% off of this retreat. It's a massive retreat discount. So that's why I did not yet let the Bright Friday discount work for that. But like I said, this has been coming together more and more. I'm super excited. There is so much to feed and nourish our soul, heart, mind, and body in this retreat. Here's a list of just like a partial list of some of the things we're doing. We have breathing exercises. We have energy principles. We have how to see auras. If you haven't seen auras before, this will teach you literally how to see them. Everyone can do it. 100% of people, we're going to learn who our guides are. If you don't know your spiritual guides and allies, you might meet some of them. How to interact with and understand them, different methods for that, purifying practices, increasing your spiritual energy practices, how to bless your food and water, or just various ways of doing these things. There's not just one way. We're just doing a sampling of all kinds of practices that you can apply to your life, how to develop your own intuition and trust that intuition more deeply, even on matters as simple as like, I don't know, should I go left or right? You know what I mean? Simple stuff all the way down to the really deep life issues, so you won't even need me for guidance sessions if you learn all this stuff. It's pretty empowering. And just all kinds of tools, tricks, and tips, and also festivities and sharing and fun and irreverence. We don't take ourselves too seriously around here, but we also like to get real about shit. So it's gonna be cool. It's 10 to 5 Mountain Time on those 3 days. It will be recorded for you to view for up to 10 days after the event. So if you have to miss part of it and you didn't want to, and there was something cool, you can always come back to it. And so if that's something you're worried about. Also, I want to add, and really we will then get on to the show, that there are some awesome participants who are sharing here. I should say presenters and teachers. We have a master teacher, a priest of his order, he runs his own temple, and just like the list of accomplishments of this level of being is every time he's on the show, I try to list as many of them as I can. It just starts sounding like I'm like making shit up. Like, he's amazing. Anyway, he is my own personal teacher and the teacher of many people over the years, and that is Alan Sisko the Great. And so that's going to be really amazing for anybody who gets to be a part of that. That alone is worth a good portion of this very small asking fee. And this fee goes to support him and the other 2 teachers and myself over these 3 days. So it's pretty low price when you think about it that way. And you get the discount if you're a supporter. Anyway, so he'll be there presenting to you on some things that some people never get the chance to learn in their whole life. But if you're lucky enough to meet a good teacher who has studied and practiced deep wisdom their whole lives, then you get to access that, and that's pretty special. So I'm really excited about that. We've also got the incredibly gifted spiritual channel that exists in the form of Catherine O'Shea. Catherine has been on the show also many times and will be again on the 8th coming up, as long as things go well. And either way, she will be doing another presentation and class at this retreat as well. Again, that alone would be worth a good portion of this price, given her fees that she usually charges. And so that's also something that is really special that we get. So we get just those 2 things would be this much. It's actually pretty crazy. I don't know why we're this crazy. And then one more, we have my friend and beautiful soul and master level gardener, Harmony Lorraine Fronterhouse, and she does tea time with Harmony. She's also been on the show a few times. She is, I always describe her as like a forest nymph or like a garden fairy. She literally can grow anything, anywhere. She's She had the tiniest plot. I say this every time. She had the tiniest plot of land in the middle of the most disgusting area of this city, and she turned it into a garden oasis with like water features, and she's not rich. She doesn't have all this money to put into it. This is all just her hard work and her ability and her knowledge. So she's going to share with us really practical ways that we can all start to become sustainable ourselves in any space, apartment, that city tiny lot that she had, or anything in between. So super, super useful. And she also comes at it from a very spiritual angle. And so that's also something that we'll get to learn about and use in our own practices. So I'm very excited for the people who have already got their spot. I'm very excited for all of you who I hope will get your spot for this retreat. And I'm just super pumped about it. It is going to be so rad. So I'm very excited. Also, super good Christmas present. Just saying. If anyone in there in your life would really love this, then what a fantastic present that would be. So I hope you do it. Anyway, moving on. Again, rogue.locals.com. If you become a supporter, you get that massive discount. So go grab that. If you are going to come, it'll be far, far worth your time. All right. So we'll just look at this full moon lunar eclipse at 8 degrees of Gemini. And this is, again, from the traditional Western astrological point of view. So just like we looked at last time when we did, I don't even remember what that was, you guys. What did we do? Some astrological phenomenon we did a couple months ago or something. I also looked at this, the Western point of view first, and then the sidereal, just to remind people that there are these multiple ways of looking at it. And traditionally, if you're like me and most people who are just kind of lay people, we all look at the Western astrology. So, when you learned your sun sign, if you go read something in the papers about if you were born here, this is your sign, all of that is Western. The most common and obvious look is the Western look. So they're saying it's in Gemini. They do, one of the rare times, they point out that sidereally it is in Taurus, however. And so if you don't remember when Athen Comenti was on, and he'll be on again soon too, so that'll be exciting. When he was on, he reminded us and taught us that sidereal just means that if I'm remembering right. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Howie, to post the link to the 3 days retreat. There you go. Yes, it is a great lineup. I agree. Regan's gonna try to come. I love it. My new hair, thank you. I cut it myself the other day. I'm glad it looks normal. Bright winter up in here. We do what we want. All right, so sidereally means that when you're looking at the sky, when you're looking at it with your naked eyes or a telescope, or you're looking at it right now, this is how it looks. Because the way Western astrology does it, this is based off something that I still always forget because it makes no sense to me, but it's where the sky was thousands of years ago on this date or something. I don't know why we've been doing that. It seems totally wrong to me. At the same time, you can make anything fit into a little box, right? So if we're reading this, we could probably be yeah, that kind of fits. Yeah, totally. But anyways, I really like the sidereal because I really like looking at reality, and sidereal is based on what's happening right now in reality. But so this is what they say. They say it's in Gemini. And the partial eclipse here is, again, this is what it looks like. It's kind of a red moon, which then everybody's always oh my God, it's the end of days. Because the moon will be blood red. I don't remember if that's in Revelation or some other apocalyptic prophecy. And it's talking about feeling chaotic, irritable, tired. It's funny because some of these things that they're recommending are the exact same things you would recommend if it's in Taurus. So we'll look at that. But relationships, contracts, or projects begin during eclipse season. They often carry the energy of the eclipse and can feel chaotic over the long term. So I guess don't begin something during eclipse. I don't know what eclipse season is. Is there a season? Oh, they're just saying for the few weeks around the eclipse. So it's eclipse season right now then. I do, in ancient astrology, like this says, eclipses were feared. People were warned not to venture out, not to get married, not to do much around eclipse time. I have heard, for the solar eclipse and whatever, that you really shouldn't be out in it and you shouldn't be absorbing that energy. And I think everyone should do whatever feels right to them. I'm not going to advise you on that, but I just do think there's like some symbolism in it, and the mass mind, or the, mass consciousness, like carries these messages in it. And this is either a reflection of that, or the message is a reflection of this astrological happening, or however you want to look at that. We do want to look at the energies that carries. That's how I like to think about it. If you're inside or outside, will it matter? I don't know, man. But it's going to be 3 a.m, so I'll definitely be inside. I'll be sleeping. All right, so anyway, I don't want to go too far into this one because it's the one that I'm not super into about what's going to happen if it's in Gemini, because I think it's in Taurus. And this site, this guy or girl, does Vedic astrology, which is the sidereal astrology. So they're talking about the Taurus full moon eclipse that's happening tomorrow. And it's interesting because this person is saying we have emerged from a deep dark night of the soul this year. I don't know if we've emerged from it. I think we're still going into it, but maybe we're emerging, and that would align with some of the energies with this eclipse. That's not, I don't know, it's not a bad thought. We should maybe look at it that way. That's a bright winter way to look at it. We're emerging from the dark night. Jupiter has just moved into Capricorn, they say. They're joining Saturn there, and we know that because the Great Conjunction is coming up, which is another reason why we want to be raising our energy during the 3 days of brightness retreat, because it's right on that massive conjunction. So that conjunction and the sun's death at the winter solstice is exactly why we're doing this retreat. It's going to be amazing. We're going to keep our own energy bright wintry despite whatever's going on in the world. But so yeah, those two are coming together now. Jupiter is optimistic and expansive, but it's not very comfortable in this reality-laden sign of Taurus, because it's so like pie in the sky, expansive, like jovial, and Taurus is very like down-to-earth, practical, rooted. So they're kind of opposed almost. Let's not say opposed. They're not comfortable. That was a good way to put it. There's some limitation and restriction there. But Saturn is apparently very happy in Taurus. And so maybe that'll balance out, this person is saying. And they say this is a good time for grounded action. That seems to match with my interpretation of it as well, which I base it on this guy, Athen Kementi. I trust him wholly. His interpretations are always so spot on. He's the one who developed True Sidereal astrology. He made that whole method of calculating birth charts and like checking when things are in different places. He's the guy who let us know that the age of Aquarius doesn't start for 752 years according to where the sun rises on the vernal equinox and all of that. He's pretty rad. Super want to get a reading from him. And I suggest everyone else does too. So a lot of the ideas I got about this eclipse come directly from this video. I'll throw it in there. You really could just go watch this and not even listen to me, but I like meandering through things and tying various things together. So you can do that with me if you enjoy that. Yeah, bare feet to the ground meditation would be great right now, Howie. So Pluto's about to shift into Capricorn too. And I like this. This person talks about the New World Order. And they say it's well underway whether we like it or not. And I mean, I think that's an understatement. But I'm glad they acknowledge it. Most importantly is to keep to the light. Hey, that's what we're doing here. That's what Bright Winter is all about. That's what 3 days of brightness retreat is all about. We're keeping to the light. We're not ignoring the dark. We know it's there. We know exactly how much it is there. We are not confused about that. We just know that we are of the light and we are sticking to the light, not ignoring it. We have our darkness. We embrace it. We hug it into dust and we turn it into light too. And uphold a sense of universal truth and righteousness. And that matches with this whole period of time. So the eclipse energy brings us some of that, needing to really find our own values and this sense of universal truth, a sense of universal righteousness, and what is truly right and what is truly valuable to us, and keep that all the way through that 3 days of brightness that we're going to have. because it'll be just very important. And we may be going through a lot of transition around that, or transformation around that, I should say, and developing our really distinct understanding of our own values and our own senses of those things. And that's a great thing to do in this time. That's exactly what we're doing. So don't be afraid if you're like questioning even more than you ever have, or questioning like where your line in the sand is, or questioning whether you even have one, or questioning what your role should be during this time, or any of those things, you know, what's really important to you, what you can leave behind, and what you want to keep going forward. All of that we can do. All of that is also supported in the retreat. It's just happenstance. I tell you, like, I'm led to create and do these various things, and it just so happens that this 3 days of brightness becomes more and more obvious why I was led to create that. It is very fitting. I'm very grateful. So, living in accordance to the laws of nature and the universe. We like that here, I think. Sharpening our intuition. Like, all this stuff's in the retreat. Learning and applying higher knowledge and purifying our senses. All in the retreat. And we are, by extension, nature and the universe. And so it makes sense that we would do this because we don't want to go against ourselves. So this is interesting, too. And I think, forgive me for not remembering who called into one of our call-in shows a while ago and told us all about Vedic astrology and the various ideas. But I think they were talking about these things. So the Rohini Nakshatra, that was the first time I heard Nakshatra when you called in. And forgive me that I don't remember who that was. But Rohini is the red star, and it carries the vibration of Rohana Shakti, that which increases and grows. So it's kind of like the energy of Jupiter. And I wonder if that is a name for Jupiter, if this is a different kind of star. I guess red star wouldn't necessarily fit. Is Jupiter red in the sky? I don't know. That's actually, I'm not sure what Jupiter or Saturn looks like color-wise in the sky, actually. Anyway, I would like to know more about that. The red star, the vibration of Rohani Shakti, that which increases and grows. I know what I'm aiming to increase and grow during this next season, starting at the eclipse and going up to the 3 days of brightness and through the 3 days of brightness. And I'm very intentional about that. So that's one of the things I want to encourage you guys to do, is be very intentional about that too. The more we go through tonight, maybe the more that will become clear. So it's a full moon also tomorrow. If I didn't mention that, I think we mentioned that a few full times. There can be eclipses on all kinds of moons, right? But it's a full moon penumbral eclipse. So that's kind of fun. It just is like a more powerful, full energy, I think. Maybe it's a more powerful, full energy. It's being like literally eclipsed. So maybe there's a shade thrown on it, but it just means we're going to go deeper. So it does, this person says that eclipses are omens and signify events to occur. The lunar eclipse affects the mental and emotional self and is quite quick, where the solar eclipse is a little bit longer. So this will be a short dip into this energy, perhaps, or shorter at least. And is it inauspicious? I don't know. We were just talking about that. Should you go outside? Should you do, you know, all these things? I don't know. People have different ideas about it. This person, their sort of Vedic look is that it's maybe not the best time to do things, start things, or be outside under it. So yeah, we could get more into that one, but it's pretty deep. So I just want to talk about I don't know, can you even see that? Yeah, you can. This eclipse, one of the energies, and this is one of the things that Athen highlighted, is that it's a time that's really going to ask us to, you know, question, just like Saturn does in general, since Saturn's coming into this picture now and like getting this whole energy started for the Great Conjunction. It really asks us like how self-reliant can we be, or how grounded are we? Or rather, it's more about kind of what structures do we have in place and which ones are we going to create in order to get to our goals. But also just the Taurus energy asks us, are you self-reliant and are you grounded? And most of our answers, I think right now, might tend towards like, maybe not quite enough. Like, it's really easy right now to not be grounded. There's so much that's flying around so quickly and things are changing so much. And there's so many things that are asking for our attention. And a lot of us are throwing it out there pretty frequently and often very quickly. We're switching between things, and just all of this would make us a lot less grounded. So, it's an important time to stop and take stock of that. Am I intentionally grounding myself? Am I intentionally remembering to not be attached to these things that are flying through the ephemera or whatever, and just really be right here, right now. And just like Howie said, it's a great time to literally go out and ground yourself. Stand on the earth with your feet off, with your shoes off or your socks off. It's cold, I know, but you could probably do it. And if you need to, you could wear socks. Your socks are often going to allow you to ground unless you're wearing weird rubber or metal socks. I don't think you are. But you want to do that. You want to be out and you want to be grounded. And I like to try to get as far out into nature as I can, for a long time. And let's just say the 90% of my spiritual awakenings have come when I'm in direct, deep connection with nature and completely disconnected from anything human made. There's no people around me. I literally would wake up at 6 a.m. this one season of spiritual change for me, and I would hike up into the mountains alone in the middle of nowhere, and I would go miles and miles out into the forest and find a lake and just go out and swim and float in the middle of it, and just that's pretty rad. I realize not everyone can do that. That was a very nice aspect of the place where I had lived at the time, but it's moments like those where we could really get deeply in touch with ourselves. So that's another way of being really grounded. It's literally just being detached from all that is human and being in physical direct contact with nature. And in those moments, you do have only yourself to rely on, right? And that's actually one of the best things. What do I always say? I say, always look inside first. You're relying on yourself for your truth to come through, and you trust that it will, and it does. So this is a good season right now during this eclipse and moving forward to the 3 days of brightness to really get in touch with that as much as you can. You have to be intentional about it. You have to purposely, I sometimes, if I'm not in the habit of these things and I want to be, I will schedule it. I'll be 9 o'clock, go outside and put your feet on the ground, or I'll pick a day that week. I'm I'm not doing anything this day. I'm going to drive out into the mountains and I'm going to walk out into the woods and safely and, get deeper. So it's just something to think about. And also while you're doing that, you really want to think about too, the natural abundance that's around you. And again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. I feel like all of us know, and all of us want to be doing more of this, creating our own abundance in nature. And I liked this image because I like that this I think this is a YouTube channel, but I sometimes just look for images that represent the idea that I want to talk about for a minute. And this person said, from bare dirt to abundance. And I'm that's exactly it. And that's the energy of this eclipse, is to realize that abundance doesn't always look like how we might be attached to it looking. It's not always oh, you have a mansion and a giant pool and a Ferrari. That's pretty abundant. But this also is abundance, and there's no distinction between them. They're both abundance. But if you're like many people at this time, feeling a lack of abundance or wondering where your abundance is, you may be ignoring that literally dirt has abundance in it. And literally getting down, while you're grounding and you're out there in nature, you may want to remember to look around and see the abundance everywhere. Even in places like where I'm at now, it's very different from anywhere I've ever been. It's very dry. It doesn't feel that abundant to me in nature, but then I remember to look around and really see all of the natural resources that are here. There's so many amazing rock specimens, for example, and crystal specimens that are everywhere here. And there's just its own, nature always creates abundance. It's just in a different way often than we're used to. So it was a reminder for me to remember that and to honor that and appreciate that. And this time, being in Taurus, this eclipse being in Taurus and the Jupiter and Saturn's effects on it too, really asks us to look around and be grateful for this abundance that's around us, because it's going to become more necessary for us, just like we've been talking about for many months, to get more and more down to, the basics and really remember, what do we value? What do we need? and what's already around us. And we find that we have a lot around us. We have a lot of natural abundance and a lot to be grateful for. If you can live in that space more than any other space of like feeling like you don't have enough, or like, what are you going to do? Or things might be scarce. Well, then you'll have more abundance. That's kind of how the world works. So keep that in mind. This is a good season to keep that in mind. If you're not already doing it, again, you might want to schedule it. Be like, all right, go out and ground and make a list in your mind of the things around you that are actually abundant and that you could be grateful for. It could be good. It could be good. So simplicity is sometimes its own form of abundance, right? Why is that there? Oh, because this picture. I want to check in with the chat real quick and see where you guys are at. That's right. Matt Feinberg's in the house and says we're going to blast that dark with the light laser. The light laser of love. It's supposed to rain. I wish. I hope. It's not supposed to rain here. It's very dry here. I don't know if it's technically a drought or if this is just what Colorado's like, but I wish it would rain. I don't know, Howie, what you were asking that I should do a video on, but let me know, because I'm probably happy to do it, especially if it fits in with the bright winter. Oh, a video about grounding? Yeah, we could do that. I mean, that's definitely one of the things that we'll go deeper into in the 3 days of brightness as well. The earth loves you, love it back. It's exactly what I'm saying. We'll actually just... the other day, one of the things that's in the Rogue.Locals group, I'll show you real quick. There's so much in here. There's so much. The other day, I was out and I was taking a walk and this murmuration appeared. Sorry for the noise. But you'll see in a second, they come fly over and it's this white, just pure white doves like flying around in this murmuration. It was so cool. And whatever, it's not that great of a video, but, you know, when you're out walking and they're, like, constantly flying over you over and over again, like, I was, like, grinning, and it was so fun, and it reminded me of this quote by Khalil Gibran that said, "Forget not that the earth delights to feel your bare feet, and the winds long to play with your hair." It's absolutely true. You go out, and you have that playful attitude, shit will play back with you. It's pretty fun. All right, so yeah, personal development. This is the time for personal development. It's actually, there's like some sort of alignment that's called a minor quincunx or something, and I guess it's with Venus in this eclipse tomorrow, and it's really good for personal growth and development. And even though it's a minor aspect, like Athen was saying, there's not a lot of aspects to this eclipse in general, and so this is one that is available, and it ties into the other themes so well that I want to highlight it also. And that's if you're looking towards, you know, where can I find my abundance and simplicity, and how can I get more grounded in the natural world around me, and how can I do some of these other things we're going to be talking about. One of the things that does is develop your personal, you know, your inner world. and I like this quote because it says personal development is the belief that you're worth the effort, time, and energy needed to develop yourself. And you are. And I think it's so interesting because I know myself even. How many years were people telling me, like, you should ground, you should literally go ground. I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for that. And then I finally started doing it, and I was like, oh, there's really good reason why people suggest you do this. And you make time for it, and it makes time. It's weird. Time is just something we can just make. It just doesn't even exist, so we just do it. It's interesting. So I hope that you all more and more, because this is true for anyone. You could be like working on spiritual, internal, external, any sort of development your whole life, and you still can have more to go. So you're worth it for sure to put the effort and the time into developing yourself personally. And this is a great time if you haven't already started, or if you don't already have practices that you do. It's a great time to try to incorporate some and do even more. And they can be so simple. They can be so simple. So yeah, do it. Start it. Come to the 3 days brightness retreat and learn so many ways to do that, you know? Or there's also other classes and things that I offer. Sorry, I keep doing. That's funny. But yeah, it's just also fitting of this entire maybe year I think, that that this eclipse is happening right now. And just like that person said on the other Vedic astrology page that we kind of glanced through, they were saying, we're kind of emerging from this darkness, the dark night of the soul. And I'd like to think that's right. And it's just a reminder to pause and remember that sometimes we do have to go through the darkness to get into an even brighter light, or really to even remember, like, oh yeah, I have a light. I am a light. No darkness can actually touch me. And so, these struggles that we sometimes face, and the darker energies of this eclipse and this season in general, they can't stop us. And really all they can do is make us brighter. It's that silly statement that we all get sick of. That's like, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's true. But we want to use it to construct ourselves. We want to come out of that darkness and be like, okay, yeah, I brought the sword out with me, and now I can like cut some shit down, or whatever it might be. That's what we want to use it for. It also reminds me of that sick thing where all the elites are like, never let a good tragedy go to waste, or whatever sick thing they say. A good catastrophe go to waste, a good crisis go to waste, I think is what they say. It's kind of like that. Unfortunately, they're not wrong. You shouldn't let a good crisis go to waste. You should take that and you should be like, all right, I'm going to use this to build myself back up even better. This is what our tower moments are for in life. So it's an inviting time to go deeper into your spiritual journey. You really, really want to check your life path right now, and ask yourself, like, how far have I come? Where have I come from? We always want to honor that. We want to honor the shit out of that. We have all come from very unique and different places, and we've all gone through so much to get here. And we bring so many gifts with us because of that, because we came out of the darkness and we got even more light because of it. So we have all of that with us. And so to really stop and check, I think people think, like, when you stop and take an accounting that you're looking for problems or lack, and really you're doing both. You're saying, like, here's all the shit I've accumulated that's good and beautiful and true. Look at it all. I'm amazing. I did all this. Woo! You want to do that too. You want to honor yourself. And then you also want to look and be like, okay, where can I build more? Like, where can I have an even stronger foundation? This grand conjunction is really going to look at our foundations, and we really want to have them be as strong as possible. So it's a good moment. It's a good moment. The eclipse is asking us to look at that even deeper. Where are you at on your journey? Where do you need to go from here? Where have you come from? Clarifying those goals, And I think a lot of people think that means that they have some, like, massive, like, super trippy experience or something. No, it does. It could be that, but it could just be as simple as you're like, I really want to, like, stop being an asshole all the time. Like, sometimes I'm like, this is my jihad that I choose for myself. I'm like, okay, this year I'm really going to focus on not screaming while I'm driving. I'm really going to focus on that. I'm going to get to the bottom of why I do it. I'm going to, like, develop methods to stop doing it. And then I do. And now I'm, like, not someone who screams when I'm driving. And that's awesome. Or I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop being someone who's, like, condescending or dismissive towards people. I'm going to find the times when I am. I'm going to really ask myself why. You know what I mean? It can be really, like, almost mediocre or, like, banal seeming things. Those are actually the things where some of our, like, most transformative change comes from. Truly. I think people really think sometimes that you have to, like, I don't know, spend, like, years on a mountaintop. And it's like, you can, and it can be really cool. And you can also just, like, be really honest about where you're at. Being honest about where you're at is crucial. And being honest about where you're at sometimes means you have to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to stop, I don't know, like throwing garbage out of my car or whatever it is. I'm not saying I have ever done that. I'm just saying, like, we're all in different places. You got to just pick those things and just dive into them. So yeah. We want to ask ourselves what our inner values are, if we're achieving them or not, how we can get closer to them on our spiritual path, our spiritual journey, or whatever. You don't even have to look at it as a spiritual journey. I know some people are like, oh God, like, spiritual journey. Like, I just literally just mean your path, your life path. We're all on the path. It doesn't matter what you call it. We're all doing it. Ask yourself, though, what are your values? What do you value? And are you doing it? Are you living it? Do you need to change something? Do you need to add a routine, or do you need to add some practice or do something to get yourself closer to that? Status check on the life path. And again, you know, Scorpio is also involved in this eclipse somehow, and it's also asking us to go deeper into that path and that transformation. But this huge emphasis on, again, our roots, this Taurus energy, and getting into this natural connection. And I just want to emphasize again that, like, you know, people are like, I don't know who my spiritual guides are and my allies. I don't know how to find them. I don't know how to meet them. Like, well, being in nature is one of the best ways to do that. I know we already talked about being in nature and how, like, really beautiful and transformative it is. But I just can't emphasize it enough. I don't think people do it enough or, like, take as much advantage of it as they should. John Muir, super badass, super right. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. You will get everything you seek and way, way more. You won't even know all the benefits of it. It's just a really, really good time to connect with it. And this is you know, something that Athen highlights in his video as well, that these are actually just the really basic principles of shamanic healing. And healing is also going to play a really strong role in this eclipse because we have some Chiron energy that we're going to get to. And so if you're, you know, looking at this, again, I think people think it's like way more mystical and mysterious than it is. The very basics of shamanism are using nature as a healing and a guiding set of energies and principles. That's the basics of it. And just recognizing that you're a part of that. You couldn't disconnect yourself from that if you wanted to. You were born of the earth, you will die in the earth. That's life. Like, you are earth-based, and the earth is your home. And so the earth is also your medicine and your guide. And this eclipse asks us to really remember that. Really remember that, because there is going to be transformation, life path changing, or at least modifying energies that you could choose to use and heal some massive shit. And this shit that you're healing, again, like I said, it doesn't have to be this, like, huge, like, oh my god, I realized that I have this, like, trauma from this thing and it's all so complicated. It could be literally as simple as, like, I don't want to scream in the car anymore. I want to heal that. Why do I do that? Let's get it. You know, again, I just didn't close my search windows, apparently. Now you know my methods. They're so simple. Before we go with this, this element of trust and connection that we need, which also, like everything else in this eclipse season, I guess we'll call it, it's a good word for it. It all goes into the 3 days of brightness so perfectly, you guys. There's a reason for that. I really hope that you come and connect with that. But I want to check in with the chat really quick again. I like to see what you guys are talking about. Talking about mushrooms. That happens so often. It said, I definitely said hi to Howie. What's up? Abe Williams is also here. Insanely good online bingo player is also here. Mushrooms kill depression. That's right. That's right. Yeah, nature provides us with literally everything we need. I mean, literally. The sun provides, with the earth, everything we need. And the moon is pretty freaking rad, too. Yes, yes, yes. So you may have noticed this eclipse season is pretty, it's pretty, like, full of solitude, I almost want to say. And, you know, a lot of the themes and the aspects that are being pulled out are, like, it's very individual. You know, we've dealt a lot with the mass scale this year. Like, too much, in our whole society and us as a whole and a collective. And this is really asking you to bring it all back to this, like, very, very interpersonal, yeah, relationship with yourself, you know, and where you're at on your own journey, like we said, and, you know, going out into nature by yourself and connecting with nature. And this is really, I want to say, like, terrifying for a lot of people. We have all this distraction when we're with the collective and that consciousness and that stage of action. And it's way easier for most of us. We're way more comfortable with it. Whether you're introvert or extrovert or not, your attention is often there. And that's way more comfortable for a lot of people because it distracts you from those inner things that you don't. Nobody wants to figure out why they scream in the car and then like undo that and admit how fucked up that is and like fix it. You know, like that's hard. It sucks, even as simple as it is. And so you'd rather be distracted by these things, and you'd rather go along with the collective mind and be like, you know, angry about Trump or Biden or something and whatever. And I'm not criticizing that. We all need to be in the collective as well. But coming back to this inner place takes, therefore, a lot of trust. It takes a lot of trust in the connection that you have to yourself. And that as daunting as some of that inner work can be, or as overwhelming as it can be, or as much as we don't really want to be honest about some of those things, trusting that we are connected to everything and everyone in a way that keeps us in this net of safety, that like you can't really go wrong or get too lost in that inner world. It's always going to be a safe place. Trusting that can be kind of difficult. And luckily, some of the energies of this eclipse are energies of trust and connection. And so I think that really helps with what we're aiming for in this transformative time, and then using these energies in a positive way. So just know that, you know, if you're one of the people listening to this who is going to go out, and I hope that's you, and start looking for that deeper connection and searching out your values and figuring out, you know, where you're at with your life path and where you want to kind of go, and just reorienting or reaffirming or whatever it might look like for you. I hope that you remember that this connection can be trusted. It just infinitely. There is nothing to fear there. It feels scary, but it is not actually dangerous at all. It's very good. So yeah, all of that also comes with this energy, like we were mentioning earlier with Saturn and maybe even other aspects that I'm forgetting exactly, you know, what they were or why they matter. It brings this need to be structured and have routines, and to be able to adapt to whatever comes. You do actually need structure and routine. And it's interesting. It's, again, one of the things that people like talk about Saturn and how, you know, harsh Saturn is, and it's like a horrible taskmaster, and it's like criticizing you or whatever. And it's like, yeah, sure, but also like you actually do, Saturn's not wrong in that you actually do need routine, and you actually do need some level of commitment, and you actually do need some rigor, you know, in your life in order to grow and to get to new places. And so you can't do new things well if you don't practice them, for example. And you can't get to a new level if you don't like work towards it. Sometimes there's some, what do they call them? Mary Sue's or whatever, who just can like pick shit up and run with it. I don't know. But most of us need routine and structure in order to do new things and do them well, or just do old things well or better or whatever. And so that energy is part of this too. And again, if we're rechecking all of this and we're getting deeper into nature and connection, we're aiming to, again, start to maybe heal some of these things that we want to transform into more productive or beautiful, polished aspects of ourselves, then we want routine and we want structure. And so it's another thing that's good to check in with right now. Do you have the routines you want to have? Like, I am really good at routine. I shouldn't say I'm good at routine. I'm really good at change, actually. But I'm really good at giving myself new routines. We'll say that. They change all the time, but I get them. Because I'm like, well, I want to learn Latin. So, or like enough Latin to kind of understand most Latin, at least the gist of it, right? So I'm going to like get this app and I'm going to practice for, I don't know, 20 minutes a day. And then when I like plateaued on that, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get this book and I'm going to start like studying that. Whatever. Like, I give myself these structures and these routines to get where I want. You have to know first all the things we just went into. Where are you already? What do you want? What do you value? What is the abundance around you that you can use in the natural world to help you get there, or listen deeper, or whatever it might be? And then what routines and structures might you need to insert into your life in order to get there? You might have to be a bit more rigorous than you like. You might be more like me and not need to be any more rigorous than you already are. And you might actually be someone who needs like less structure and routine, and that's almost like a crutch and an addiction for you. But that's not many of us. That's not many of us. And you can use all of that, you know, with this Chiron aspect that we have as well. And it's Chiron and Pisces. So the specific healing. So Chiron is the wounded healer, right? Chiron is this, centaur that you see before you, or some version of this. Who knows if that's what Chiron actually would look like if you saw him in the astral or whatever. I'm not sure. But Chiron was the centaur, and the mythology of Chiron is that Chiron was, I think, killed for like wanting something to do with a woman, I want to say. Anyway, I don't really remember exactly why. He was like killed or hurt or harmed by these people, or like beat to death almost, and then developed the knowledge and the insight and the wisdom in order to heal themselves, and in doing that became one of the most renowned healers ever. So it's the idea that anything you heal in yourself, you can then offer as healing to anyone else. So this Chiron energy is going to ask us, what do we need to heal? It's literally looking at physical and spiritual healing. So if you have physical ailments, like I myself have many that I'm healing and transforming right now, and I'm like super excited for this energy then, because I can add that to what I'm already doing and like heal even more. By the way, if you're interested in healing yourself, that's one of the things that will be in the 3 Days of Brightness retreat as well. Various methods for that. And they work really, really, really well. I'm healing things that I would have never thought could be healed, which is rad. And like we often talk about on this show, even without the concept of Chiron, but it's even better with the concept and the energy of Chiron, anything you heal in yourself, you can help heal in others. Anything you change in yourselves, you can help change in others. Anything you create in yourself, you can help create in others. Because anything that you do for yourself, you do for the whole world. We talk about this all the time. This is a spiritual concept in every single tradition. Every single major spiritual leader said it. And we can see it in science. We can see it in material reality in so many ways, right? I always feel like I bring up the same examples, so I'll just use one. There's labs, for example, that we're trying to grow a specific kind of crystal all around the world. Rupert Sheldrake talks about this all the time, and this is where I got these examples from. You know, and all these labs were trying to do it all over the world. They couldn't do it. And finally one lab just somehow, just one day, just did it. We got this crystal or whatever. We made it within like a week or something, within like a very short period of time. Literally every single other lab that had also been trying could do it. Did they share information with them? No. They just also suddenly could do it. So the idea is that you create this field. And once you create this field, any other place in maybe the universe, but at the very least on Earth that we know of, can now have an easier time doing that, right? Every single person has an easier time, every group of people, whatever. So every time you're doing that, you're creating this for literally everyone. It's a pretty awesome service that you're doing. So take this opportunity of this Chiron energy to go even deeper into whatever healing you're already doing, or to ask for healing from the universe or your spiritual allies, or just your mind or your whatever you believe in, and ask, can you assist me? Dear energies of the eclipse, can you assist me in healing blank? Like, my thumb hurts. Can you please? I'm not even joking. If your thumb hurts, do it. Like, do whatever you want. Morphogenetic resonance. Yes. Psychopomp the Third. Rupert Sheldrake talks about it in, what do they call it? The God delusion? No. The science delusion. Science delusion, and then they call it something else in another country, but super awesome book. Rupert Sheldrake is the man, and those we're creating, that's his scientific view of it, right? You can have a spiritual view of it, scientific, they're all the same thing, but he's saying we're literally creating a field of information, and once that field of information is created, now everyone has access to it on whatever level, scientifically, quantum level, whatever, spiritually, the etheric level, the akashic level, like whatever. Doesn't matter what words you use. It's there. It's information. You have quicker access to it or easier access to it. And everyone does. So you're literally saving the whole world when you save yourself. So take this energy offer and do that. Set your intentions for healing. Like literally right now if you want to. Like write it down. Like I'm using Chiron energy right now to heal blank. It's as easy as that. If you also take that then and you go sit in nature and you're like, I'm healing this right now. Thank you for all the help, nature or whatever. Like, do that. Yeah, Joe Biden broke his foot. He broke his foot playing with his dog. I'm like, dude, I already know what the cute people are going to say. And I don't know if they're wrong or not. But I already know what they're going to say. Ankle bracelet. I have like such a fun, so I just heard that today, this Joe Biden breaking his ankle thing. And I instantly was like, oh, please, God, let the cute people be right. Maybe we can hope. It's a bright winter. We can do whatever we want. But Joe Biden could use this Chiron energy to help heal his fake broken ankle. Right? Yes, Matt Feinberg says, I always have to remind myself that it's okay to ask for assistance. It's not only okay, it is highly advised. It's highly advised you only ask things that you trust and feel like love. You know, I always say what's good, true, and beautiful, right? Are trees good, true, and beautiful to you? Ask trees for help. Do you have, I like Jesus, I like Guan Yin. I have like a couple that known spiritual beings that I like to call on because they're cool, they're good, true, and beautiful to me. I also have my own private, personal, energies and whatever, allies and stuff that I ask, but you don't want to just ask like some random strangers like soul or whatever, like you want to be intentional and ask things that you trust and you love. But always ask God. You believe in God, know what you think God is or not, whatever, ask God. Ask like the universal field of morphogenetic love. You can do whatever you want. As long as your understanding of it is clear and your intention is true, like that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. So yes, it's not only okay, it's highly advised. So yeah, Chiron energy, let's heal ourselves while we're doing all this deep diving and nature connection and deeper connection and transformation. And, what a cool eclipse. What a rad eclipse. Also, the sun is going to do an eclipse on December 14th. I think it's a full eclipse, right? Total solar eclipse on December 14th. I didn't even know this. How did I not know this? I don't know. But maybe that's why they said eclipse season, because it's not just the eclipse tomorrow. On Monday the 30th, but also on December 14th of the sun. But it's going to be down in South America, so we won't see it. But I'm sure you can have videos and stuff if you want. But we'll talk about that before it happens too. I'll remember to do another episode on that. But I wanted to, it was so weird because I was looking at all of this eclipse stuff. I was putting this show together. I was listening to Athen and I was like, I swear to God, I wrote a poem about this eclipse. But it wasn't, I wrote this poem about whatever. I just wrote this poem and I was like tickling my brain the whole time. I was like, I wrote about this before. Like, I swear to God, I wrote about this. And then I was like looking for it. I was like, what is it that I think that I wrote? And I found this poem and I was like, it really is about the eclipse. So I'm going to read it for you, as I sometimes do. This poem is on my site. You can find it. It's called What You Left So Long Ago. And if you want to read it again for some reason, or read along or whatever, there's the link for you. So many eclipses. Are they fake or what? I don't know if you're asking if the eclipses are fake or what. I'm like, it's like the same as anything. I don't even know if this is what you're asking, Howie, but I'm like, is it fake? I don't know. Is space fake? I don't know. But something is up there and it looks like that and it has these qualities. And then, here's the symbolism and therefore the possible energy and meaning. And that's how I look at the whole world. Is it fake? Who knows? But it's still here now. All right. So What You Left So Long Ago is the name of the poem. All right. And it goes like this. Nothing is as important as the dark night of the soul, as many times as it takes to come out whole. Get what you left in there so long ago and drag it out. A stunning goal. Nothing there is can be more sacred and crucial. A duty by birthright. Its consequences torrential. Let out of the dark, a faint band of zodiacal light sent forth from the sun, entrenching our senses, calling us to remember, to awaken, to alight. What was extinguished in false separation and lost in a psyche of fear and expansion, blind running from reason and inbound self-treason. Heart intercepting will beat forth a season, a winding and twisting, still finding a pleasing cessation of hunger, of desire, of want, and spew forth a welling, a loving, a font, unbroken and whole, eternal and swole, to bursting. When finally we know, we saw truth and we found no more thirsting, just drink and be full. That's exactly what this entire eclipse is about. It's exactly also what this entire season is about, and it's exactly what Bright Winter is about. So it's pretty weird that I wrote it at least 2 years ago, if not more. But things, you know, poems are like that. They can be applied in many places and many times. So I invite you to keep that spirit and all of this energy of this eclipse and the solar eclipse that's coming, whatever that's going to be. I'm sure it also fits in perfectly because that's how things go. And keep it going throughout our bright winter. And that is going to be the theme of everything for a while now. There's so many shows coming up with such amazing people that I'm so excited about. Some of them will only be available in rogue.locals.com. There'll be like a little teaser out here for you guys, but you know, the rest of it will be in rogue.locals.com. And one of those is going to be a return of Dr. Thomas Cowan. We are going to be talking this week, and I hope to get that to you guys by Friday in rogue.locals.com. And so it's just like a bonus episode for supporters in rogue.locals.com. And Dr. Thomas Cowan, you may remember, came on and talked to us about how the heart is literally physically a vortex, and not only a vortex, you know, physically, but for who knows what other energies. And super cool, amazing doctor who has written many cool books. And he is coming back to talk this time about the myth of contagion, which is his book that has been censored, that he wrote with Sally Fallon. Sally Fallon, you may remember, of Nourishing Traditions, who I really would love to get on the show, and I'm totally going to make it happen someday. But Dr. Thomas Cowan is coming to talk about that. We've got Max Egan coming back soon. We've got Mark Devlin's coming up soon. We have another episode with Catherine O'Shea doing more with our animals and spiritual channeling. And I wish I had my I do. Let me look at my calendar and see who I'm forgetting. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm not even going to say this one out loud. It's coming up this week on Thursday. Don't want to jinx it. So just wait. You'll find out. Gary Wayne is coming back next week. Super excited about that. Yeah, and so much more. I'm getting lost in my calendar, and I don't want to dawdle on, so I will leave it at that. Those are just, Athen Commenti's coming back too, but just so many rad people interact with this show and this community, and I love it, and I love you guys, and as always, thank you for supporting. So yeah, go to rogue.locals.com and support. That show with Dr. Thomas Cowan is going to be mostly there, as well as others, and you get the discount to the 3 days of Brightness Retreat, which again, is like a perfect correlation with all these energies that are going on. And you get a massive discount by being a supporter. So I'll stop talking about the retreat. I'll stop. I'm just saying, like, it's a fantastic deal for what you're getting, and the people who are going to be there, and the wisdom that you're going to have, just a direct connection with, and the practice, and like just cool people to hang out with. Like, it's going to be rad. I'm so excited. So excited, so excited. Can't wait to see you guys there. Just perfect timing for all these energies that are going on. Yes, beautiful souls do gather here. Good point. So many eclipses. Oh, and I'm also really excited about this other, I won't say this one because it's not scheduled yet, but there's so many good episodes coming up. Season 5 is amazing. Technically, season 5 hasn't started yet because season 5, like, I don't number these episodes where it's just me, even though I think they're rad. I don't like consider them part of like the season or whatever. So I only do interviews and panels as numbered episodes. Maybe you've noticed. And so season 5 hasn't technically started yet. So I think it might be the Cowan video. Whoever starts off season 5, it's going to be a wildly awesome season. I'm very excited about season 5 of Rogue Ways. Lindsay Smith's in the house. What's up, Lindsay? So yeah, I also, just a quick reminder that your local / small business / regular people all have the most amazing gifts. If you're shopping right now, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever is happening, there's a discount in the store. I gave you guys the coupon. It's Bright Friday, and like I said, I think it's still going through tomorrow, but at least today, if you want to make sure you use it. This is for anyone, whether you're in the rogue.locals.com or not. So go find Organite. orgonite earrings, orgonite pendants, and, my art and my books and whatever. If you want to give those as gifts, those are fantastic gifts to give. So I'll plug myself, but I also want to plug my sister-in-law, who's a dope artist. And she makes these cards and more on her Etsy site. And her Etsy shop is Allegra Rose Brown. Like, she's just rad. These cards are amazing. I can't wait to send them to people. The way I was like, you're spreading the love by buying them, right? Because you're supporting small businesses. You're also spreading the love when you send them again for like a Christmas card or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a Christmas card. I'll also plug the always amazing Johnny Larson. Johnny does the music for Rogue. And whenever I used to have artwork behind me, which we don't do because we have a bookshelf now behind me, but it used to always be his artwork. So you've probably seen a lot of it. Here's one gorgeous example. This is for sale right now on his site, along with so much other rad stuff. I love this. Is like nature taking back the earth, is my interpretation. She's got her like caged up pollution chemtrail city down there. She's like, nah. No, we're not doing that. I love this one. He has so many good works. So you can go to johnnylarson.com, get this art as well as the music. All the music on Rogueways is Johnny too. He's multi-talented. So you can check that out for Christmas gifts. Super good option. And I always like to plug our other Lindsay Smith, who does Shooting Rainbows sprays. I love her sprays. She does her own essential oils. She bottles them on certain astrologically significant times. She puts crystals that she's blessed at astrologically significant times. She only puts crystals in that match like the vibe of the scents that she has made herself. All her scent combinations are like her own recipe. And she plays like certain music and does certain, like this is like the most magically beautiful room scent / magic spray that you could get anywhere. She makes all sorts of other stuff too, which is rad. So go to shootingrainbows.com to get that. And if I'm forgetting someone who does really awesome stuff, I'm sorry, but I just am keeping that in mind this Christmas because, as we know, lots of small businesses have suffered. And so not only do we want to just support small businesses in general, but just in like always, I think it's better to go with the little guy, go with the people who are doing like real stuff, and the people who are doing amazing stuff. There's so many people out there who are so talented. And so I'm doing that. All my Christmas presents come from those types of places and those types of people. And I just encourage you to do that too, as I do every year. So yeah, go check out my shop or any of their shops and get your Christmas shopping done and make us all happy as well. And just to go back, the eclipse happening tomorrow. Should you go outside or not? Totally up to you. Whatever. Do whatever. Follow your heart. Your heart won't lead you astray. But do just be thinking about that. What are your intentions for it? What are you going to use this energy for? What are you going to take this moment for? It's like a quieter time of the year. Maybe you can find some more space and time to add in some of these, at the very least, just sitting in nature. Grounding in nature, right? At the very least, add that in if you're not already doing that. And at the very most, if you're like, I don't know what else to do, but I really want more things to do, that's some of the stuff that I teach. Go grab a class from me, make it a group class, make it you and your friends. It's like cheaper for each person if you do it that way. Or whatever, I can help you do that. And then obviously the 3 days of brightness retreat will emphasize and teach all kinds of stuff like that. So make sure to do that. And now I'll leave you guys alone. It's awesome to hang out with you as always. I missed you. It's been since last Tuesday, I think. So it's good to see you guys again and spend time with you. And so thanks for being here and being you. And until you master the journey into the darkness and back out again, creating the brightest light as you go and remembering to keep it lit for everybody else. You're making that easier for everybody else. You're increasing the morphogenetic field of success for all of us as you go. Until you master that, remember to travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Mwah.
I heard the Freemasons.
It's a one-on-one lesson. Make your dome hurt while up on earth. My bones are blessed from holy dirt. vibes manifested to words that told me search for verbs and adjectives to describe birth. Worth more than one can speak, while the tongue feeds a weak, a sour taste in your mouth, bittersweet. Words can also kill you when you sleep, mind condition. Low frequencies while the subconscious mind listens. I can tell a vision filled with lies, this lies is truth. And spread it like the word to the youth, watch the tube. A place where the God gets booed is sorcery. To recreate a God forgery. There's more than meets the eye, not too many know. Just hear me flow like the eye of Horus Penio. Yeah, not ready to leave until we believe we're free to go. You hear me, yo?
Sculpted from the ether, the material will eat ya. Stuck on this plane, lanes use jet fuel to greet ya. The dimensional three ain't beating me on top of the fourth. Didn't climb Jacob's ladder to squab with a sword. Forged with ink drizzle, branch down. Try quiet your lamps now. Ascension past the matter, that they slam out they damn mouths. We ain't on land now, but they over understand. Sacrificing wisdom, hoarding dumber, kosher, wicked hands. Putting faith in worthless worship of the mortals. Artificial portals, mass ingestion of the black goo. Bioengineered morsels, conversing with machine elves. Bypassing maggots, they stuck on Android screens now. I'm scrolling emerald tablets. Moloch living lavish, off the backs of the savage. Them clasp hands at the Sabbath. Smack of energy damage, they done twisted the tongues. Put nanotech in the lungs. The awakening's begun. All they really can do is fucking run.